How did you attract/address your audience? I attracted my audience in many various ways, including the house style that we chose, the colours, the font and the layout of the magazine, even the name of the magazine, the images we included, the article and even the language that we used to write our articles. All of these things that we did appealed to our male and female audience. We chose the colours black, grey, white and red. All of these colours are not specific to any particular sex or gender, which means that our house style was mutual and appealed to anybody. We chose to do a simplistic design and layout, which made our magazine look professional, as this is what our audience research and planning said when we initially carried it out. It would make it more efficient for our audience to find out information quickly and ensure that they are not distracted by other colours and effects around it. We've chosen to use a block text, which is neither girly or boyish, and this again means that it's not specific to a gender and therefore appeals to everybody. Our masthead is Million, and it links in with the hip-hop rap side of our magazine, which obviously appeals to our audience that we're targeting. We used an arrow in the O to suggest that our magazine is moving forward or ahead of the trend. This adds something different to our masthead, which we thought would appeal to our audience and make it more likely that they would buy our magazine. The context of our magazine is also really important regarding appealing to our target market. In what ways does your media product use, develop or challenge forms and conventions of real media products? When we first came up with the idea of a hip-hop/rap genre, we wanted to make it unique and add a twist of indie to it as well. This is unconventional, and we are unaware of any similar magazines to this. This means that we have a gap in the market and we can play about with the style and the market research and the audience as well. Typically, rap and hip-hop magazines use dangerous colours and bright like yellows and reds. However, our magazine was indie music as well, so we wanted to attack a different side to it and use black, red, white and grey. These for us are simple colours which scream professionalism, and we use these colours in order to broaden the target market and ensure that it attacks very many different sort of people. This makes our magazine unique and is going against the conventions really. Our magazine has a bold, recognisable masthead at the top of our front page. This uses the form of real-life conventions that media products represent. We didn't want to change this convention as we feel that it's an important aspect of the magazine and attracts the buyer, and potential buyers would judge the magazine on the masthead. Also, keeping with the conventions, we used a skyline on our front page to either show off offers or hints as to what is inside. This is also something that people would judge the magazine on, and so we felt that it attracts the audience and it's important to keep this. Something we chose to develop on, however, was the use of black and white images. Some magazines do use these as they do look professional and the artists tend to look flawless when they're in black and white. We liked using these as it was a good contrast against the red and obviously the white as well. We used a typical camera shot on our front page of the artist looking straight at the camera. This is something that is seen in most magazines and it's rare for them not to be. This is to create a personal side of a magazine and portray that we're getting inside the artist. If they're looking straight at the camera, then it kind of, it implies that they're telling the truth in a way. Also, we've challenged a few things in our magazine, including the genre, we've tried to keep it consistent to ensure that our magazine fits in with our target audience. What have you learnt about technologies from the process of constructing this product? All of the technologies that we used helped us to create a professional magazine, and it gave us a different, unique approach to our magazine. Without things like Photoshop, the magazine wouldn't have been as professional and it would have been a lot harder to do. So we are grateful that we have these available for us. Using Tumblr was something that I had personally done before, however Tom and Ben hadn't. I think it's been good for them as they've learnt how to use it and now they feel completely comfortable uploading things and commenting and doing all this different blogging as well. It wasn't too challenging. Obviously, I had experience with it, so I could teach them how to do it. There was a few things that we came across that we couldn't do, which I now know how to do, which is great. It means that I am a more advanced blogger now. Photoshop seemed so scary when we first started using it. It's very daunting. However, all three of us went onto YouTube and looked at tutorials and basically taught ourselves what the best way to make a professional magazine was. By the end of editing our final product, we were able to add different shadows and various effects to our images and make them look really professional. Things like contrast and brightness was something important. That made our images look a lot better, and this was something that we taught ourselves and that we learnt from our peers and also from tutorials that we watched as well. We've never been specifically taught how to use Photoshop, so it's literally everything we picked up by ourselves. If we went back and did it again now, it would be so different. It would be a lot less scary as well. I used a really clever program called Photoshop Lightroom, and that enabled me to be able to edit my photos to the exact way that I wanted them. It meant that I could fiddle with the brightness and the contrast, the clarity, and all these different things. I'd never even heard of this before I did this media product, and I'm really happy now that I know how to do it, and I feel really comfortable doing all this sort of thing now. Another aspect that we have learnt about is how to take professional looking photos. Before we came into this project, I don't think we really knew what sort of shots and poses and things would look best on a magazine. We've learnt how different things look better on different pages of the magazine. Like ones looking straight at the camera would look so much better on the front page, and you can do different poses and different things that look better on the side and different things. One thing we did learn is that studio images are a must, and you must use a studio image if you want your magazine to look really professional. We learnt how to use the camera, and we learnt how to use the studio as well with all the lighting and stuff, so I think that was really, really good for us. Looking back at your preliminary task, what do you feel you've learnt in the progression from it to the full product? My preliminary task was quite different to how I approached this one. I think that when I did my preliminary, I kind of rushed it. I used very basic effects and very basic editing. This one is so much more significantly different. It's more professional and overall more successful. The main reason why a magazine just turned out more successful is because the knowledge and techniques progressed as we kept going. We put a lot more effort into these ones, obviously, but we learn over the journey of making our magazine how to make it look better, and I think overall it has improved a lot, and I've learned a lot from it. I think that when I did my preliminary, I really did not know how to use shadowing. This was something completely abnormal to me, and I've learnt this from Ben, who figured it out on his own. So that's something that is quite different, and it looks a lot better. It makes the image stand out, and it looks really, really professional. I think also when we did our preliminary, it was a bit inconsistent. All the colours were different, the texts were different, and it just didn't look professional at all. And we've definitely progressed in the sense that now our magazines do look very professional, and we are very proud of them. I've been researching different institutions that might distribute my media product. We had a look at IPC Media. IPC Media is basically a UK leading magazine publisher, and it varies in the type of magazine that they sell. However, selling magazines really is quite important for them, and they produce over 60 iconic media brands, and the website alone collects over 20 million users each month, so it's quite big, as you can imagine. This would be so beneficial to us, and if we could get our magazine on something like that, or IPC itself, that would be absolutely superb. It would create a recognised name for us, and we noticed that they publish a diverse range of magazines, from things like cooking and car magazines and things like that. This expands their popularity and their audience, which means that our audience really, really would be getting out there. Our magazine would be fully out there if we went through IPC. They produced the magazine NME, which is something that we've actually looked at, and we based some of our magazines on NME, and I think we did a few of our articles at them. It falls under the same sort of genre as NME, and NME has obviously been made huge since it's gone through IPC. This just really proves that IPC is definitely the sort of company that we want to be looking at to take our magazine bigger.